Hi, welcome to Grow New Plants. So today I'm going to do some fig cuttings. I've never done figs before, so there's a disclaimer here. I do not have any experience rooting figs. I've watched a lot of videos on them, and I have experience on starting cuttings, but I'm going to give this a try. I've got 9 different varieties, and I got 44 total that I'm sticking. And I got these off of eBay. I'm going to put a link in the description for the guy that I got them from. He came recommended from some other people from me, and the cuttings I got look really healthy, and he's a great price on them, and he has quite a few different varieties, so I'll leave a link in the description for his eBay page if you're interested. I'm going to stick them in 3 different ways. I've got these Rootmaker pots over here with my perlite and peat moss mix, so I'm going to stick 36 of them in here. I've got some 1-gallon pots with the same mix, the perlite and peat, that I'm going to stick them in, and those will not be domed. These will be domed afterwards. I have the big domes that go over them. And then I have some that I'm just sticking in my regular upstart mix. That's the bark mulch, hardwood bark mulch, and peat moss. So I'm going to try them 3 different ways. I've got cutters, I've got Clonex, root hormone, I got some diddle sticks, I got a knife to cut some of the bottoms, and I got my labels made. And I got links too for all my mixes. I get asked that a lot about how I do my soil mixes, so I've got links for those up at the top. And then I also put a link up here for how I did my labels. So I'm going to zoom everything in, and then we'll get started doing these. Okay, so I got everything zoomed in here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the variety I have the most of, the single one. So the big thing, you need to know which is up, which is down on these things. So I'll kind of go over that. This one's pretty obvious. It's got buds already coming out, and I'm not sure whether the buds coming out is a good thing or a bad thing. It just depends on how quickly they can establish roots, and it can keep moisture to support growth on these, because I almost guarantee you as soon as I stick these are going to start growing, but obviously they're not going to have roots yet. But we'll just see what happens. I'm going to leave them on there for now. I may find out all these that had these died, and the ones that didn't have the buds didn't die, so I'll figure that out from there. But so if you look at these right here, hopefully I can get a good close-up of this. If you look right here, that's where the leaf fell off, and then that's a bud right above it. And if you look at one of these that already has a bud, you can see that. So where the leaf fell off of it before, and then there's a bud coming out the top. So this is the top. The way the bud's on top, that's the top, so it goes this way. So I've got all these already lined up. Right there, that's got a bud already coming out. This one doesn't have buds, but you can see right there, and then the little small dot on the top, that's going to be where a bud will come out. So it goes that way. So I've got all these lined up where top and bottom is. And so what I want to do first is I want to come in, and I've got my Clonex, and I put some in a little pill bottle so I don't contaminate the whole bottle. So I just use this little bottle here to dip into. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and I got a bud here. So I'm going to take a 45-degree cut just below that bud. I'll go ahead and cut that way towards the bud. I don't know if it really matters. So 45-degree cut there. And then I'm also going to, and this is a lot of controversy on this right here. I see a lot of people cut it afterwards, and some do, some don't. I'm going to go ahead and try it. Just take a little shave here and a little shave here on each side, and then we're going to dip it down in their hormone, just enough to cover those cuts in the bottom. And then I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay them across that and just let them sit for a minute till I get the rest of them cut. So there's a bud. I'll cut that one the other way just to see. And we'll take a little shave. I'm not cutting through the bud. So just a little shave cut right there. Dip it in the hormone. So I'm going to do that with all of these. This one's got a bud. It's got 1, 2 buds, 3 buds. I'd really like to stick that section, so I think I'm just going to cut right close to that bud, do a fresh cut on it. You want a fresh cut so it'll absorb the, cut really close to the bud on that one, but hopefully it'll be all right. Take a couple little shaves. I prefer to leave at least 3 buds above the ground, because this one's got 1, 2, 3, 4 above the ground, which is even better, but I think a minimum, is 3. So cut, shave, shave. And there's one, fresh cut on that. So I'm going to do I'm going to plant this first variety just regular speed, and then because it's going to take me a while to do all these, so then I'll go through and I'll just fast forward through the rest of them after that. Two more here. I'm going to pull that bud off because it's going to be underground. And one more. Okay, so we got all those done. So now we're going to take our, and I got this all figured up. I got a little chart over here that I can refer to. I'm putting four of every variety in this tray, and that'll give me my 36. And then I'm going to put any of them that I have more than 4 of. The extras are going to go in these pots over here. So, and I got some diddle sticks made, and this isn't probably critical, but I'll go ahead and at least get a hole started. So these pots are about this deep. So I'm going to plant them probably about 2/3 of that depth. I want them a little bit of room underneath the bottom, so probably going to want to go about that deep with it. So just put that in there. Kind of press my soil around it a little bit, and that's it. I'm just doing the diddle stick just to kind of give it a, hopefully it just keep it from pushing any more of the rooting hormone off that needs to be pushed off. So we got, make a hole there, make a hole there. And I'm just grabbing these like that. I don't want to put that one too deep. I don't want to get that bud underground. That'll be fine there. Same with that one, it's got a bud relatively close to there, so just push that down. So I got my labels here, and so these are the labels that I made. You can see those, they came out really good. So I've got all the labels made for each one, for each pot, because obviously I'm going to need to know what varieties they are. And since I'm kind of a fig illiterate, I'm not going to know the difference by looking at them, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm going to take these and set these to the side. And then this is the variety I'm going to have all 3 methods of planting in. So we got 2 pots here that are the bark mulch and the peat moss mix. So we're going to start with one of those. And I definitely need a dibble stick with this because it's still got some chunks in there. So we're going to go, I'm going to bury that one a little bit deeper just because it's going to need to get down into that moisture, I think. That one actually buried the second node, but I don't think it'll hurt anything. It just may make roots. We'll take that little crooked one and put it in here. And I'm just pressing them around just to get them firm. And these in the trays, I'll probably add a little bit of soil on top just to help keep them firm. So these are the peat moss and perlite mixes here. So stick those in there. Like I said, this is all experiment. We'll see what happens. And we got that. So we got all 8 of the narrow 600s planted. I'll go ahead and tag these. So as soon as I get these tagged, I'll tell you all the varieties I have. And then I'm going to do a time lapse, probably sticking the rest of them. So there's all 8 of those planted. So I've got 8 of the Nero 600s. I've got 4 of the Atreano, the Malta Blacks. I've got 7 of those. The Battaglia, I don't even know if I'm saying some of these right. I've got 4 of those. The Vasilika Black, I've got 4. Negrettas, I've got 5. The Ronde de Bordeaux, I've got 4. The LSU Purple, I've got 4. And the St. Anthony, I've got 4. So it's going to be a lot of cuttings. So I'm going to get reset up, and then I'll just do a time lapse on sticking all the rest of these, and then we'll come back and water them in, show you with the domes and all that, and then I'll talk about how I'm going to store them to let them try and root. Okay, so I've got them all stuck now. I got them all labeled. And so the only thing I'm going to do left is I'm just going to put a little bit more of my soil mix around each of these just to make sure they're good and stable. You don't want them moving around. The main thing is you're just looking for good soil contact. You want to make sure that the cuttings have good soil contact, and that way when the roots come out, they're not growing into air and dying. They're growing into moist soil, and they'll keep growing. So I'm just going to put a little bit of soil around here, and then I got my little mister head, and then we'll come in. And so some of these things you saw were pretty big. Some of them had multiple branches coming off. One of them was so big I had to put the branch off down. I think it was this one. It's in the other pot. I'm just going to do one of these pots on the camera. And then one of them actually had, I don't know what I did with them. I must have lost them already. One of them actually had like 3 little figs. I think that was I think it was the LSU Purple, but I don't remember for sure now. But one of them already had like 3 or 4 little baby figs on it. But I pulled those off because I know enough from doing other cuttings that you don't want to put anything with a flower on there because the flower sucks out energy from the plant. So I went ahead and plucked those off. But I thought that was kind of cool because it already had little baby figs on it. So anyway, so I got these, have some soil added up around these. And I got my little mister here. And I like this little mister because it's gentle. It doesn't push everything down, move everything around. So I'll just sit there and water these in good. And I won't sit there and I'll water these for a while. This thing's only like a ½ gallon a minute fog nozzle, so it doesn't put a ton of water out, but it waters real gentle, so I like it. Takes a little bit longer, but it works good. So anyway, so after that, the last thing is that these things will have these plastic domes on them. So I'll come in here like that, and I will cover these with the plastic domes. The trays are in. Let me pull the dome back off so I don't destroy this showing it to you. Here, I'll just tilt it up where you can see it. You see right here, they're inside another plastic tray. And that'll hold a little bit of water down the bottom, so these things can kind of bottom water themselves and keep them moist. I've used this method for cuttings. I've got several cuttings back there right now that look like they're all starting to root using this same method. So we're going to see what's happened. The only problem with these is they're pretty tall, so when they put out leaves, the leaves are going to grow up against the dome, but that's not going to hurt anything. I mainly just want them to get roots. Once they get roots, then I can start taking the domes off and leave them in there, and then they can, once they got a decent amount of roots, I can remove the dome because they can support themselves off the roots that they have, and then they'll continue to grow roots out. And then once they fill out these roughly 4-inch containers, each of these cells, once they fill those out, then I can take them and transplant them up into probably 1-gallon pots from there. So anyway, hopefully they work. I will do some update videos when we see what happens, good or bad. If they don't work, they all die, I'll do an update video and own up to it. But I feel pretty confident. I think we're going to do well with them. Anyway, I really appreciate you watching. Please like, please subscribe, please share my videos. Thank you.